My favorite thing to do in sentiment analysis is competitive analysis with sentiment laid on top of it. So if you're listening for your competitors and conversations that are being had with advisors in your area, and you're picking out the specific things that people don't like about those practices, it allows you an in to start those conversations to say, hey, have you considered looking at another advisor? Here's what people are saying about us.
Welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa, brought to you by Elite Consulting Partners. It's the only podcast offering unfiltered guidance and the direct advice for all things concerning financial advisors, RIAs, and the practitioners in the wealth management business. And now, welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. This is Brian Lutz, Chief Marketing Officer with Elite Consulting Partners. And with me in the studio today is the person that I always enjoy to be with, Miss Sue Cheema.
Hi Brian, thanks for having me again.
Again? Listen, I want you in here all the time.
I know, I love this.
So today is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. We get to dig into a little bit of the really nerdy stuff on the marketing side today, where we're talking about sentiment analysis, specifically in social CRM, but I have a feeling that we're going to ducktail into things outside of social to talk about sentiment analysis as well, but some really nerdy stuff as it relates with artificial intelligence, AI, and natural language processors, NLP. There's going to be a lot of acronyms today.
As long as we define them.
Boy, the roles have reversed today.
I'm learning from the best.
All right, so then I'm going to need you to reel me in today because I'm already highly caffeinated and I'm really excited about this topic. But let's get into it. So, Title of the episode, AI and sentiment analysis in a social CRM, is it worth the hype? And I think the question that we're trying to define here is, what is sentiment analysis and why does it matter? So, Sue, as the reigning data expert, talk to the listener about what sentiment analysis is first.
Yeah, so we've talked about artificial intelligence quite a bit and would love to get your insight on sentiment analysis as well. But essentially, it's analyzing certain keywords and marking them as neutral, positive, negative. And then leveraging that to either create a score or say, hey, this person wasn't motivated, wasn't optimistic, and so on and so forth.
Right. This is probably one of the really scary AI features where it's like, hey, I said this, give me a qualitative measurement of how that made someone feel.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to ask you, like, hey, what did you think of that presentation? Be like, oh, no, it was good. Well, a sentiment analysis can give you a legitimate score of your presentation was a 79.
Yeah.
And these are the reasons why. You fell off here.
Or, in the same example, what if you were to say, what did you think about that terrible presentation? That presenter was truly awful. And you know where the question is coming from, right? The asker or the person who's questioning really didn't feel positively about this podcast. Maybe. Right.
No, 100%. And you know what? A podcast is actually a great way to use this as an example too, because if we were to run a transcript on this podcast and we were to talk about things that we talked about in a positive way versus things that we talked about in a negative way, whether they be risks or challenges or things of that nature, the AI solution that you're using to analyze the transcript is looking for those keywords like risk, challenge, bad, and then giving that a score to say this part of the podcast was very positive. This part of the podcast was
not so positive.
Right? But the same can be done on social media and in email, where if you are sending an email out and an email comes back to you, the response to that email can be read, that just like a transcript, and an analysis can be run on how that person felt based on your message, which I freaking love.
Which is, like sometimes I think about how, like, I love the mechanics of things, right? Like, I almost envision, like, someone going through, like, thousands and millions of words and associating an NPS score to it, right? Like, if you use terrible, it's not good. If you're using great, it's good. Like, that's how the natural language processing works. And just through that, we're able to say, okay, well, the sentiment of this, people that were listening to this presentation was positive, negative, or somewhere in the middle. And how do we nudge them, in an opportunity, or to close an opportunity, or to leverage that to essentially do something positive as an outcome.
Right. So putting this into real world examples for our advisors, if you were to run a sentiment analysis on the name of your practice, or if you were to run a sentiment analysis on all of the emails that you have ever sent to a client or in total, that would be a use case. And what a lot of big brands will do, specifically around product launches or around go-to-market strategies, is they'll do a 30, 60, 90 review of how a product or their brand is being received in the market. Utilizing something like Tesla as an example, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good example.
Yeah.
Lots of emotions attached to it.
Very, very polarizing discussions happening online. And these are not just conversations that are happening with the brand. These are public conversations that are available on the interwebs, that these platforms like a Hootsuite or a Sprinkler or a Brandwatch or a Meltwater, all of these platforms have the ability to crawl over the internet to publicly available messages, capture those messages, run that sentiment analysis on it, and say, based on your brand, Tesla as an example, or Elon Musk, I mean, you can put whatever keywords you want on here. Here is the public's perception of your brand or your key executives, and then give you a sentiment analysis on that. And then you could filter conversations based on what are the largest keywords that are affecting the sentiment analysis.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think what's really powerful, I mean, you and I talk often about, getting the data together and creating that holistic view of a client prospect opportunity. And if we were to do the same here with sentiment analysis, like besides where you have blatant factual information, here is more soft skill analysis of how they're truly feeling and reacting through subtle words. And I think that could be a powerful underlay, on top of all the facts that we may have.
100%. And, when you think about the things that are publicly available today, as it relates to advisors and their practices, one of the things that a lot of people should be looking at are those keywords that will affect negative scores. Are they Google reviews? Are they conversations happening around confusing topics or confusing analysis, or my advisor doesn't break it down for me, or there's a number of different ways that can help advisors improve their client experience simply by searching publicly available social messaging that's available.
So I have a question for you. I know the tables have reversed truly today.
I love this. Feed me.
So, how oftentimes we hear there's no bad publicity, right? Could when we say, like, when we talk about artificial intelligence, and this is, I'm genuinely curious, like, when we talk about artificial intelligence and us gathering some kind of a score, even if it's negative, and there are some platforms that actually want to trigger that negative emotion because it tends to stick deeper, right? Like, love is like, you're over it, okay, everything is positive, da-da-da-da. But if you hate something, you want to stick to that topic. What do you feel about who cares?
So I think that's going to be dependent upon the person, right? I'm sure the majority of the people who are listening to this podcast have heard of clickbait before, right? where they utilize fear as a tactic.
Yes.
Right? And so fear generates a negative sentiment, but it is an enormous driver of curiosity.
Yeah.
So if you lead social messaging with the fear of not being prepared for retirement or the fear of not being able to protect your legacy, that's going to drive engagement. It's going to deliver a negative sentiment score, but I think that's if I can get ahead of ourselves, it's always going to require a human analysis of that data.
I agree.
So you can't take this report at just its face value.
Right. So there is, I think, like, you and I talk about, at the end of the day, it's co-intelligence, right? Like, it's awesome to partner with artificial intelligence as long as you're partnering with artificial intelligence, right? Like, I think it's really good in throwing out some narratives, but you have to use your own cognition to be able to really make it instrumental and insightful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So as I think about use cases for advisors, I would encourage advisors who have marketing agencies or advisors who have in-house talent that are leading marketing initiatives, run sentiment analysis on those campaigns to see how they're being received. Yeah. Don't let that be a core KPI that you're tracking, but something that should be looked at on occasion because negative sentiment could result in detractors where a large positive sentiment could be in promoters. And if those people are not already working with you as centers of influence or as clients, those are people that you should be reaching out and engaging.
I have a not so blatant example. May I share it? So I was thinking a really good use case for advisors as well could be if you're sending emails out, just let sentiment analysis just go through your entire repository of all outreach back out and in, mostly in, right? And let AI kind of create sentiment analysis and tag a score per client household as an example. And oftentimes what I've seen is firms have like, how a client is feeling. Are they in the red and the yellow and the green? Let it aggregate that and really assess because if they're asking a lot about what else is out there or, what are the other firms doing? Are there funds that other firms are offering, other advisors are exposing? Or is there something on the World Wide Web that you may not know and you kind of combine it together? You may really have a valuable insight if the client is about to leave or is feeling neglected, left out, not, finding that the financial goals are met or not. And then you can really nurture those relationships better.
So we call those leading indicators.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's a way to be proactive in understanding client health if you don't have a formalized client satisfaction score.
Absolutely.
I love that as an example.
Right? We work with a lot of advisors, and of course, as long as certain aspects are in order, you would assume your clients are here to stay, but maybe there is, as the generational wealth is shifting slowly and steadily, are there certain things that we're missing to capture about the next gen that may be valuable, right?
Well, and that should be part of your content strategy, right? Where
Absolutely.
If you're utilizing that as a campaign that you want to start promoting is how is the next generation who is receiving this generational wealth, what are their concerns? What are the things that they're questioning? And if you just do a search around generational wealth and pick out those keywords of what's being talked about the most, that'll help you set up that content strategy. But if you use a sentiment analysis on top of that, you can identify what they're fearful about or what they're nervous about or what's causing spiking anxiety.
Yep. Or even if you're able to combine, right, their engagement activity with sentiment analysis, kind of really see what's driving that sentiment. Mm-hmm. And then you may have, to your point, insight into why they're feeling the way they're feeling and then be able to mitigate that.
And that's important too, because if you've got somebody who's doing just a cursory search on the web around
Yes.
conversations that are being had and saying, oh, let's jump on this trend.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to, because that's a trend that's generating a lot of negative sentiment, and that's not something you want your brand tied to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, so let me share one more example, which is my favorite example.
Love it.
And every advisor, if you're listening, bookmark this point right here. This is your key takeaway. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
My favorite thing to do in sentiment analysis is competitive analysis with sentiment laid on top of it. So if you're listening for your competitors and conversations that are being had with advisors in your area, and you're picking out the specific things that people don't like about those practices, it allows you an in to start those conversations to
Clever.
say, hey, have you considered looking at another advisor? Here's what people are saying about us.
Right.
So you're utilizing positive social proof around things that you've discovered that people are negatively talking publicly about your competitors.
I love that. I mean, there's so many tools now, and I think if you're not leveraging, evaluating, automating, integrating, and you and I have mentioned often that technology has gotten over the decades cheaper. Like, I mean, think about when computers first came out, like you would have big servers, you would have to spend millions of dollars. And now,
one of those.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Motorola 6800, baby.
Oh my God.
Punch cards. Let's go.
And it's
just out of
like,
diapers.
and it's just, and you're like, because it's become so accessible, why not use it to empower yourself and your clients,
right,
to be better and deliver better,
right,
for your clients.
100%, right. I think that when advisors are listening to this podcast, I don't want them to be overwhelmed by the amount of work or the amount of opportunity that can come from utilizing this as a strategy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of work. But the benefits are enormous. And as you think about the cost-benefit analysis of this level of detail in this research and this analysis,
it's useful.
It is useful.
It's useful. It's actionable.
No, I think that's the better way to describe it, is actionable, right?
Yeah.
So let's answer the question. Is sentiment analysis worth the hype?
Is it, like, I feel like I'm nudging towards the positive here, as long as we are mindful about the realistic outcomes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think that a report generated based on a keyword search that you're looking for is helpful, but it'll take a deeper human level analysis to be able to make actionable insights of it.
Absolutely.
And like any skill, it needs to be developed.
Yeah.
And you need the proper level of experience to execute on it. But I think that it could generate actionable insights to help you advance forward.
I mean, if you're looking to grow and you want to know how people are feeling, not only about your firm, but about other firms, like, why not?
Yeah.
You know?
So my takeaway is this. I've seen sentiment analysis on a number of reports. We utilize Read AI here internally here at Elite. I love looking at the sentiment analysis of a meeting. Personally, I like Read AI because it also gives you like a little coaching corner, like, hey, you talked too much, or you didn't let the client talk enough, or this is where the conversation kind of took a dive.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's kind of like, hey, dude, you got to calm down. Maybe try decaf.
Maybe try decaf.
But the overall analysis is good, and it allows me to be a better consultant for the clients that I work with.
Yeah.
And I imagine those types of insights that'll be helpful for advisors as well.
Yeah.
I'll speak on your behalf because you're the one who's always doing this too, is that to be able to capture these types of insights, you need recording software on your meetings. And so check with your compliance officer before you start engaging solutions like this.
Yes.
Because not every platform is compliant with your broker-dealer.
Yes.
So check that box first. But if you want to have conversations about this and dig deeper into this, gosh, please give me a call because I will talk to you about this all day long. And I promise not to be this intense, but Sue does a great job of helping visualize and explain a lot of this information in a very, very simple way. You probably want to reach out to her before you reach out to me because I'll bend your ear for a solid hour. The fact that we've been only talking for about 20 minutes on this topic,
What?
honestly
Oh my God.
surprised.
Yeah.
So let's do some takeaways here.
Yeah.
Number one, sentiment analysis. Not overwhelmingly, yes, charge down that path, but helpful and actionable.
Absolutely.
Right?
Helpful and actionable. What tools?
What tools? Sprinkler, Hootsuite, Meltwater, Sprout Social, any social platform, Read AI for meetings. I think a number of those meeting tools, I think Zoom also has an AI component to it.
Yeah.
Otter AI is a tool that I know that I've seen out there that has those types of insights as well.
Yeah. Salesforce has it too.
Salesforce has an exceptional insights delivery mechanism with Marketing Cloud.
Yeah. They also just added Einstein meetings or something. Same thing.
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah. So like if you could integrate Zoom or Teams or any of these meeting platforms, and then it'll take, and what's really cool is the storage becomes like a issue after a while. So they're not storing it within your Salesforce, they're actually storing it. I think there's a 6-month limitation, but it's giving you the summary. It's giving you the analysis of how it assesses the people we're feeling, the attendees, as well as the presenter. And I think that's useful.
I just came up with a great use case for really kind of anyone, but I'm gonna share it here with the group as I'm talking about this out loud. So just bear with me here. You and I talk about lead scores a lot.
Love it.
We need to identify a range within an engagement store from meeting to add to our lead scoring system. So if someone's highly engaged in a meeting, we need to bump up their lead score.
Yeah, because, essentially you could add like a weight to there.
Yes.
To each action.
Yes.
Or each insight that we're gathering.
Yes.
That's essentially lead scoring. And then you want to do future forecasting?
Do it.
If you have the lead score, if you have positive sentiment analysis, the probability of the opportunity closing becomes higher.
Confidence level.
There you go.
I love that.
Right?
Look at that. In just the blink of an eye, this is inside the mind of Sue Cheema, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming with me on this journey.
And Brian. We make a good team here.
We do. I wholeheartedly agree. So if you wanted to interact with this team, how do they find you?
Sue Cheema at eliteconsultingpartners.com.
And Brian Lutz, Brian with an I, Lutz at Elite Consulting Partners as well. Find us at JEDIsolutions.com, EliteConsultingPartners.com. You can find us on YouTube at Frank LaRosa. Sorry, that's not correct. Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. It's right here on the screen behind me.
It's right here.
And you could also find us on the Instagram and the socials and all the LinkedIn. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for coming on this journey. I appreciate you so much for listening.
Thanks,
Sue,
Brian.
as always.
Always.
A pleasure.
Just so fun.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you're looking for more advice or solutions on any topics relating to the financial services industry, or just want to subscribe to our podcast, head on over to eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast.